Ferrari's 2024 car has been revealed, and wow, it looks good. A good-looking car doesn't mean anything though if it doesn't perform, and Lewis Hamilton might be the most worried about that after committing his future to the Scudderia from 2025 onwards. That is a year away yet though, and the current drivers need to perform in the meantime. This is a do-or-die season for Charles Leclerc if he wants to continue to be Ferrari's main man, but can he put in the season-long performance he's teased us with so many times before? Or will Carlos Sainz show that he should have been the man to stay? Today I'll check out the new SF24 and explain why this is the most important season in both drivers' careers. So let's get started. 2024 is such an important season for the Ferrari F1 team. Their recent history has been filled with near misses and disappointment as they've pursued a World Championship title of any variety. Their Constructors' Championship win in 2008 is a long way in the past, and while they'll always be a huge part of Formula One, their competitive credentials are being questioned. There have been some close seasons. In 2017 and 18, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen tried to drag the Scuderia over the line, but driver and team errors held them back when they arguably had the fastest car on the grid. 2022 was a similar story. They matched the Red Bulls early in the season, but driver and team errors, as well as an abysmal development path, meant they fell away very quickly. Ferrari cannot just compete. In Formula One, they have a reputation to uphold, and that means winning. Every season, the expectation is that they will compete for a world title. There are signs that this could be the season that happens as well. Fred Vasseur, installed last year as Mattia Binotto's replacement, spent his first campaign eradicating the mistakes that had made Ferrari a laughingstock in 2022, and has now promised a radically new car. The SF23 was undoubtedly a quick car, securing the second most poles of any team, but it was on Sunday when, metaphorically and physically, the wheels came off. The Ferrari would burn through rubber far quicker than the RB19, meaning any chance of beating Red Bull was an uphill battle to begin with. Ferrari did manage it once, of course, the only non-Red Bull team to do so, but that was more due to Red Bull's downfall than Ferrari's improvement. They aren't the only team to realise they need to start from square one though. Mercedes, Stake and Alpine have all done the same thing. This isn't some genius Ferrari idea. 2024 will be different for the Scuderia, as it is the first season the new boss can really show what he's been building behind the scenes. Fred came too late to Ferrari to make a real impact on the car and the team that hit the track in Bahrain. That isn't the case this year. With the sport's most successful driver inbound for the team for 2025, it feels like the building blocks are in place for the team to actually fight for a world championship. Catching Red Bull will be no small task, but that is what is expected of Ferrari this year. So what about that new car then? White and yellow stripes, paired with a Ferrari red and a tasteful amount of carbon fiber, makes for an incredible looking F1 car. The team have revealed what they're describing as a completely new car for 2024. 12 days after stunning the world of sport by signing Lewis Hamilton to the team, underlining their ambitions to get back to the summit of the sport in future seasons, the Scuderia's focus returned to the upcoming campaign and the launch of their latest challenger, the SF24. Ferrari say the car itself breaks with the tradition of the past two seasons of F1's current era of technical rules, as they aim to improve drivability and overall performance for drivers Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Every area of the car has been redesigned, said Enrico Cardile, the team's chassis technical director. Team boss Frederic Vasseur, starting his second year in charge, said, "Presenting a new car to the world for the first time is always a very exciting moment for me and the drivers. Even if we're all already thinking about the moment we'll go head-to-head with our rivals on track. This year we must start off where we left off at the end of last season, when we were consistent front runners, with a view to consistently improving in all areas. The longest ever Formula One season awaits us, and Charles, Carlos and I all agree. We must be more clinical and effective in how we manage the races, making bold choices in order to get the best possible result at every Grand Prix." Despite Red Bull's domination in 2023, the grid compacted a lot throughout the season, and there is a good chance that 2024 could be one of the most competitive title races in recent memory. Whilst the team's 2023 car proved super fast over a single lap in qualifying, it could not extract anywhere near the race pace and consistency of the benchmark Red Bull squad. Ferrari hopes that the developments made to the SF24 will help it make good progress on this front and reduce the peaky aerodynamic performance that was one of the key factors that overshadowed its F1 efforts throughout last season. To help make this happen, there have been changes across the car, and while a lot has changed completely, some parts have definitely just been refined. The front wing end plates, where the planes of the wing meet the upright, have grown far more complex. The gaps where the upright and horizontal parts join have all changed position and size to help shed unwanted airflow away from the car. The nose cone appears to have retreated even further toward the cockpit, a process that began in 2023, which will allow more air to pass under the nose and into the ground effect floor. In 2023, Ferrari started with a bathtub-style sidepod, which was ditched in June for a step design with a high shelf, then a larger lower shelf with a groove down the center. That change has been taken further on the reveal car. They still have the high shelf above the sidepod, which helps channel air onto the rear wing, but the shape and style of the main volume of the pod has changed. They've gone full water slide with a deep channel running down the center of the sidepod, from behind the driver's shoulders to where the diffuser releases air at the back of the car. This is much more in line with what a lot of the rest of the grid are doing and helps to energize the air leaving the diffuser, maximizing the amount of downforce it is producing. The opening into the side pod from the front of the car has also completely changed. As we've seen on the other cars already released, the SF24 has gained a huge lower lip to help channel air where it needs to go. The blade-like protrusion from the front of the side pod will help to guide air down under the side pod and along the floor edge toward the rear of the car. The actual undercut of the side pod is on the smaller end of what we've seen so far, which will probably mean more air traveling over the floor edge than their competitors. This could be an advantage, as it may mean more air creating vortexes along the floor edge to trap air underneath, but that would be a trade-off with less air going into the aerodynamic components at the rear of the car. The front suspension remains a push rod layout, but with a revised geometry. The rear suspension is also unchanged, and from the launch photos and videos, doesn't appear to have changed geometry much. Any changes will likely become clearer once we see it on track in Bahrain though. It won't be until then that we know how the new car will perform on track either, but from what we've been shown, the changes aren't perhaps as extreme as many expected. What lies beneath the floor and in the chassis may be where the largest changes have occurred though. Of course, the car could be the best in the world, but if the two Ferrari drivers can't wring every thousandth of a second of performance out of it, then all of that off-season work will be for nothing. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are both headed into the most important season of their careers, but for very different reasons. Ferrari stealing Lewis Hamilton from Mercedes has completely upset the Apple car at the Scudderia. The team have seemed relatively settled in recent years with their strong driver pairing. Leclerc was their lead driver, though they never admitted it, and his occasional brilliance and excellent one-lap pace meant he looked capable of fighting for a world championship given the right car. Carlos Sainz has been a dependable point scorer, but his lack of ability to pull off the otherworldly performances that are a trademark of the best F1 drivers has meant he's been sacrificed for Hamilton, a rare talent that combines the brilliance of a driver like Charles with the consistency of a driver like Carlos. Hamilton coming to the team in 2025 means that 2024 has to be an outstanding year for both of the current Ferrari drivers. Carlos Sainz, the man left standing after Hamilton kick-started an early season game of musical chairs, now finds 2024 being his audition year, a chance to prove any potential suitors that he would represent a valuable signing. He has spent 3 seasons going toe-to-toe with Charles Leclerc, but has never looked like beating him by anything that could be called a statistically significant margin. The opposite has appeared possible every time though. 2024 isn't just an audition year, it is a chance for Carlos to show Ferrari what they're throwing away. One final middle finger to the team, who have always seen him as second best. It is a year about personal pride, a chance to say that I am capable of being a world champion, but Ferrari never gave me the chance. Talking about what it would be like stepping into the famous red for one final season, Carlos said, "It's certainly not the most normal feeling to start the season," he told Sky in Italy. "But the moment I put on the helmet in Bahrain and take to the track, The only sensation I'll feel will be the desire to go faster and faster, and also aiming for victory in the World Championship. Carlos will not be short of suitors. He can probably speak to any team with a seat free for 2025 and be confident he will get it over any other driver. The decision of which team he picks will be a tough one though. Does he take a risk on a Mercedes team in decline? Does he make the move to kick Sauber and lead the new Audi team in 2026? Or maybe he tries to get a seat at Aston Martin, assuming Alonso doesn't resign. It is a tough decision, but it is arguably an easier position to be in than Leclerc. The Monegasque driver has a lot to prove this year. Any team would jump at the chance to sign Hamilton, but what does it say about Charles that Ferrari has? Having come through the Ferrari youth system, Leclerc has always been heralded as the team's next great driver, but with Hamilton coming in, has the Scudderia changed their mind about him? 2024 for Leclerc is a chance to show his team that he deserves their backing, even after his mistakes in 2022 that contributed to the failed title challenge. Charles needs to stamp his authority on the Ferrari team, and that means convincingly beating Sainz at a minimum. Leclerc will want a year of consistent performances and one that firmly establishes his lead driver credentials before Hamilton arrives. Ferrari brought in Hamilton for one reason, and that was to win titles. If Leclerc can't stand up to Hamilton, then he'll get left behind. What do you think of the SF24? And who do you expect to come out on top between Leclerc and Sainz this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.